perfectly plausible, right?
Yeah.
Famous admiral, famous battle name.
Seems reasonable, yeah.
However, as Professor Park points out, Admiral Yi Sun-sin was the celebrated Korean naval commander, 16th century, famous for fighting Japanese invasions during the Joseon dynasty.
Okay.
The Battle of Cheongsonri. That was a major battle fought on land in 1920, during the Japanese occupation of Korea. Fought by Korean independence fighters. Completely different era, different context, different type of battle.
Wow. So the AI just mashed them together, fabricated a historical event, putting a famous person in the wrong century, the wrong place, the wrong war.
Precisely. It generated a plausible-sounding story by connecting two well-known Korean historical names. But the actual facts, totally wrong.
That's not just a simple mistake.
No, it's a sophisticated fabrication. It looks and feels like real history if you don't have the specific knowledge to catch it. And Professor Park highlights this isn't just about text.
Right.
With AI tools now generating incredibly realistic images, video, think deep fakes,
Right.
the potential to create convincing but totally false visual or audio stuff is huge.
Yeah, that definitely blurs the lines.
It fundamentally challenges how we trust digital evidence, what's real, what's generated. It gets harder to tell.
That example really hits home how convincing these fabrications can be.
Yeah.
So beyond hallucination, what other big ethical challenges does generative AI bring up, according to Professor Park?
His work points out several critical areas we really need to watch. One huge one is bias and fairness.
Okay.
Since these models learn from these enormous data sets, often scraped from the internet, they inevitably soak up the biases present in that data.
Biases like,
Gender bias, racial bias, socioeconomic bias, you name it. So the AI can end up generating content that's discriminatory or stereotypical or just unfair, sometimes subtly but significantly. It reflects, and sometimes even amplifies, the biases already out there in society, baked into the data it learned from.
so the AI isn't biased on its own, it just learns our biases from us, from the data we feed it.
Exactly, it's a reflection issue. Another area is privacy risks.
Yeah, I can see that.
When you interact with these AI tools, the stuff you type in, your prompts, your data, it's usually processed, often stored by the company running the AI. That raises worries about data breaches. Could sensitive or personal info you share with an AI get exposed?
Or even used in ways you didn't intend.
Potentially. And there's also a theoretical risk if the training data itself contained personal info, that the AI might accidentally generate content that reveals someone's private details.
And what about, like, intellectual property, copyright, authorship? That must be a minefield.
Oh, absolutely. Professor Park definitely addresses the challenge of intellectual property and plagiarism. These models learn from vast amounts of existing content, right?
Books, articles, websites.
So it raises big questions about the originality of what the AI generates. Is it genuinely new? Or is it just remixing or subtly copying existing stuff in a way that infringes copyright?
Who's the author?
Exactly. Who gets the credit or the blame? How do we make sure the AI isn't just spitting back slightly rephrased versions of someone else's work without credit? Or worse, misrepresenting the original ideas?
That complexity, it also makes it hard to figure out who's responsible if something goes wrong, doesn't it?
It does, which ties directly into the issue of transparency and accountability. These big AI models are often called black boxes.
Meaning we can't see inside.
Pretty much. It can be incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to know precisely why the AI produced a specific output. Where did it get that information? How did that specific prompt lead to that specific result?
And if you can't understand how it works,
It's really hard to establish clear lines of accountability when the AI generates something harmful or biased or just plain wrong. Who's responsible? The developers, the user, the data providers.
it really sounds like these aren't just abstract technical issues. They have real consequences in the world.
They absolutely do. And Professor Park highlights several areas that are particularly impacted. Take education, for instance.
Oh, yeah, Matt.
You've got the obvious challenge of students potentially using AI to cheat, sophisticated plagiarism. But maybe more fundamentally, if students start relying on AI without checking its work.
They risk learning things that just aren't true because of those hallucinations.
Exactly. Which hinders real learning, developing critical thinking skills. Skills that are, frankly, more important than ever in this environment.
And in business. Relying on AI-generated reports or analysis that contain these hallucinations or biases, that could lead to bad decisions, right? Wasted money.
Definitely. Flawed decision-making, inefficient processes, potential financial loss. Plus, companies need to worry about protecting their own confidential data when their employees use these external AI tools.
What about research? Like academic research?
He points to the impact there, too. The integrity and reliability of research findings are absolutely critical. If researchers uncritically use AI-generated text or data, it could introduce serious errors, even fabricated results, into studies. That undermines the trust and validity of the whole scientific process.
And then there's healthcare. The stakes there seem incredibly high.
They really are. Imagine the potential for harm, misdiagnosis, wrong treatment plans. If doctors relied on AI outputs that had hallucinations or biases baked in when looking at patient data or researching conditions, patient safety is directly involved.
It's so clear then, as Professor Park emphasizes, that while generative AI